Hey Pumpkin, are you excited to get a pedicure and a manicure?
Yeah.
It's gonna be so cool. What color are you getting your nails?
Orange.
Orange, like a pumpkin?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so here's the deal. Amber Rose took her son with Wiz Khalifa, Sebastian, to go and get his nails done. And it doesn't stop there. I'm gonna read to what she had to say about this video on Instagram, but give me a second here. And I don't like putting people's kids in my videos. I try to avoid that. I very rarely do that, except for on special occasions like this. Now, the thing is, Amber Rose wrote the book How to Be a Bad Bitch. She's also the woman behind the whole Slut Walk thing. And then now this. It's like, what is her agenda? And who's behind her? Who's funding the foolishness? Who's fueling the foolishness? And yes, this is foolishness. And I'm going to get to why it's foolishness in a minute. Let me read to you what she had to say about this video on Instagram. And for the record, I'm not going to bash anybody in this video. I'm not going to call people any, gay slurs. I'm not going to throw Amber Rose under the bus in this video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read to you what she said, and then I'm going to give you my honest opinion and the reason why what she's saying is wrong. Amber Rose said, pumpkin nails with Mr. Scully bones. Hashtag Halloween is never over at our house. Really? Celebrate the Day of the Dead. But hey, this, I guess it's up to your family. That's the type of thing into. We encourage our children to paint, draw, and be creative. So why block them from their creativity when it comes to self-expression? Fuck society standards and gender roles. Let your children be great. Heart and eyes emoji. Now let me ask you something, people. Why would there be gender roles? Do gender roles exist for any sort of reason other than, I know what some feminists and womanists would say, well, gender roles exist because society is saying that women can't do certain things and that only men can do them, when men and women can both do everything, especially women, because women can do it better than men. That's pretty much the underlying core belief of feminazis. And I'm not saying that Amber Rose is a feminazi. I'm just saying that that's the collective consensus, that women are better than men and that men have something that they can learn from women, which is pretty much everything. That's what that something is, literally everything. And I think that that's foolishness. So here's the deal. The reason why gender roles exist is because, for example, if I'm married and my wife gets pregnant, should she be working while she's 6, 7, 8 months, 9 months pregnant? Probably not. If I'm the person who's working in the relationship, if I'm the person who's bringing home the bacon, then she can kick back and not have to worry about standing on her feet for an 8-hour shift, depending on where she works and what she does. She won't have to be stressed out, the boss making demands and yelling at her. She'll just be able to basically take care of herself, take care of the baby, and that's her job. Everybody has a job. That's why gender roles exist. Also, a woman has something called a menstruation period. Should a woman be at work while she's bloated, while her stomach is hurting her, while her body is cramped up? Should daily stress and demands such as driving to work in the morning, or your boss demanding that this paper comes to him in exactly 30 minutes, and it's something that's basically on the fly, and he's like, listen, it's only one sheet, so just make it work. I need you to come up with something. So-and-so from across town is on the way, and you need to come up with a full page explaining why we need such and such a service here, or they're not going to let us have it at this office building. So I need you to figure out how to word it. You got 30 minutes, and here she is pregnant, feet swollen, belly all big. Women shouldn't have to deal with stuff like that. Those everyday stresses are things that a man is more capable of dealing with, because men don't get pregnant. Men don't have periods. We don't have myriads, man periods. I know the man might act funky maybe every once a month, but that's probably because he's reacting to something that you did or said. But men don't have periods. And truthfully, our genders are different. It seems as if women only want to bring up, generally speaking here, want to bring up gender differences when it benefits them. Like saying, for example, women are better problem solvers than men, or women are better communicators than men, or something like that. But when it's time to discuss women's general shortcomings, people don't want to do that. It's fun and games when you're making fun of men, you're throwing men under the bus, when you're being a misandrist, which is misogyny when it's towards a man. But then when the tables are turned, it's like a lot of women can dish it out but can't take it. And then the crazy thing about it is, a lot of you won't even know what misandry is. It's like I have to explain to you what it is, that it's misogyny done towards a man, rather when it's affecting a man. And it's so crazy because if you go to type in the word misandry, MISANDRY, on a lot of places, you know how they have the autocorrect or the spell check thingy where to show you in red that you spelled the word incorrectly? That thing pops up. Because even the online electronic dictionaries and spell checkers, a lot of them are not programmed with the word misandry, as if it doesn't exist. But a situation like this, where the subject arises. Because I'm telling you, the same women, I'm not saying Amber Rose specifically, but many times the same women who say things like gender roles don't exist, or we shouldn't have gender roles, we shouldn't have a patriarchy, all this other stuff. It's like when it comes time to throwing men under the bus and giving women basically a pedestal to sit on, a throne, and say, look, you're above men because you're better than men, you're smarter than men, you're this, that, and the third, and those men ain't anything. Then all of a sudden, women are like, yeah, I like the way that sounds. It's like women like equality in America a lot of the time until things don't benefit them. I mean, you know, she gets to have her son wearing this. I mean, as far as I know, well, she doesn't have any daughters, right? This is her only child. So she gets to have him painting his nails like he's a little girl or whatever. So it benefits her because these are the things that she'll probably be doing with her daughter at that age. Mother and daughter things. So here she has him doing some effeminate stuff because she feels like, oh, you know, it's okay because gender roles are just made up. But I tell you what, though. Anytime a woman says something like this, ask her, say, well, hey, would you rather a male or a female firefighter carry you and your children out of your house in the event of an emergency? And if they say, I would prefer a woman, they're probably lying. I mean, there's just some things that men happen to do better. Men happen to usually be physically stronger. Doesn't mean that men are better than women. It just means that they're just different. And that's what a lot of women don't understand. That difference doesn't have to be better or worse. There doesn't have to be any sort of comparison. Because a lot of women throw their womb up in a man's face and they'll say, well, look, I have a womb and you don't. So therefore I bring forth life and you can't tell me when to make a child and da-da-da-da. And this is my body and hell, the baby's my body too. And then things get exaggerated and blown out of proportion completely. And truthfully, all of this whole genders don't exist thing, man, this nonsense, listen, I'm telling y'all right now, it's going to lead to a whole bunch of mental illness. For example, I've said to people who were like super uber liberal, I'm like, look, like you're really trying to make America sink straight into hell, aren't you? And I've tested people. I said things like, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Liberal, since you believe that people should just do whatever the heck they want to do, if I wanted to cut my arm or my leg off, would you support it? And they'll say, no, you need to go get some help because obviously something's wrong with you mentally. And then I'll say to the same person, then why do you support transsexualism? I mean, they're genital mutilators. It's abuse, it's self-abuse, it's self-hatred. You're cutting off a body part. And then they're like, oh, well, that's something different. And I'm like, well, how? Why? How in the world is that different? If it's Bob Jane's choice to cut off his hot dog, then isn't it my choice to cut off my arm or my leg? And they're like, no, because you see, Bob Jane always knew that he was a female in his mind. Well, guess what? My aunt was always a fish in her mind. Yeah, she was a deet. I mean, there's a lot of words that I could use to describe what was wrong with her brain, but I don't want anybody getting upset, so I'm just gonna say she was a deet. You know, not trying to call names. I'm just saying, I'm just calling what she was, a deet. So, you know, when people say these things like, well, I always knew in my mind that I was something different than what I am. Rachel Dolezal, whatever her name is, the NAACP chick, she came to the conclusion that she's a black woman. It's like, where does it stop? There's people who think that they're animals. I've heard of people who think that they're a cat or a dog. And even a dragon. There's some chick who looks like a lizard with all types of piercings in her face and stuff. It's like, you are what you are. Now, if she said, for example, I believe in gender and gender roles. However, at the same token, I do think that painting your nails is not a big deal because it's just nails. Then I could say, oh, okay, you know, that's kind of whatever, but you know, up to you. But the fact that she threw the whole forget gender roles thing in there, or rather, how does she word it? She said, fuck society standards and gender roles. Wow. So you say something negative against society because you want to paint your son's nails. I would have just left it at, hey, this is what he wants to do, and this is our family business. Oh, that's right. She posted it online to promote it. She's here with an agenda. That's right. And as you can see in the video, she goes and she says to him, you know, are you excited to get this done? What if he would have said, no, I don't want to get this done? How much you want to bet that she would have tried to convince him to do it? Because if you notice, she said to him, this is going to be so cool. As if she was selling him on the idea. So whose idea was it to do this in the first place? Did he say to her, mommy, I want to go get my toenails and my fingernails painted. I want to go get a pedi and a manicure. Do you really think that he said that? I don't know whether or not Amber Rose realizes it or not, but she wrote a book called How to Be a Bad Bitch. She does the slut walk thing. And in this, and it's like, if you put it all together, all I'm going to say is that all of it together, it's not like it's just one thing. You know, they say 3 strikes, you're out. She's doing too much. She has an agenda that she's pushing. Pay attention. She just signs Tory Bricks, very beautiful model, DJ Tory Bricks, with her fine self. And Tory Bricks possibly in a relationship with a young MA, a female rapper. So that's a lesbian thing that they got going on there. I'm not speaking out against lesbianism. I'm just saying, pay attention to all the different things that Amber Rose is saying and doing, and all the different things that people who are close to her, who are around her, are doing. Her baby daddy, Wiz Khalifa, or as I like to call him, Wiz Khalifa, or Wiz Khalifa, because I mean Wiz Khalifa farts weed clouds. You know, some people say if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And obviously Wiz Khalifa's motto or his mantra is, if you stay high, you don't have to get high. But anyways, Amber Rose, please stop. You're doing too much. You're really getting to the point where it's like, enough is enough already. All right? But anyways, this is all my opinion. What do I know? I'm just an asshole in a microphone. You people in the comment section and the celebrities that I talk about are the real stars. Let me know what you think about it all below. Be sure to subscribe to the Meat Magazine YouTube channels. Visit meatmagazine.blogspot.com for more. Follow me on Twitter at Meat Magazine, Meat Magazine 7 on Google+, and Meat Magazine blog on Instagram.